Hi, I'm Angelina Conde. I'm the videography editor of Afterglow ATX, and today I'm here with Chris and Max from Everyone Asked About You. How are you guys doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Everyone Asked About You spawned in the late 1990s when founding members Chris Sheppard and Lee Buford came together for their love of emotional, hardcore-adjacent acts. 20 years later, they developed a cult following of an unexpected demographic despite being inactive since 2000.
Resonate with a lot of the motifs that are in their music, and it just makes me feel very sentimental and nostalgic, even though it's not like I grew up in that time.
Everyone Asked About You reminds me of her, reminds me of good times, a lot of good memories, a lot of good traveling. Reminds me of just a lot of good people, in my life.
When his band got on stage, a whole pile of young kids came in. And I was standing kind of right at the stage with Matthew's partner behind me and my friend Chadney, and I filmed the first song. I'm filming it and I'm hearing all of this sound coming from the audience. All these kids are singing all the words back to them. And then it hits the chorus and kids are jumping over each other, and I'm thinking this is what I would do if Drive Like Jehu played, right now, or Fugazi Reform. And it was that energy that was coming back, and I was like, the kids are all right! The kids are all right!
The band caught the ears of Ken Shipley, co-founder of archival record label Numero Group, which represents other hardcore and rock acts such as The Hated, Duster, Codeine, and none other than Unwound.
I started listening to their music on YouTube, and it was really good for one, but I just saw how young people were interacting with them in a way that was maybe odd for a band that was their vintage.
Everyone Asked About You headlined their first Austin show at Radio East on October 18th as part of a mini tour that kicked off in Little Rock and took them to 3 Texas cities. But before their show, I asked them a few questions about putting out music, touring, and the evolution of their band after being labeled a staple emo act. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to Texas, because I know that yesterday you had your first Texas show in Denton. Yep. How is this mini tour going so far for you guys?
It's been incredible. Yeah, last night at Rubber Gloves was amazing. None of us had ever played Rubber Gloves before. Such an amazing venue, and the crowd was nuts, and yeah, we had a blast. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was always a little bit nerve-wracking to play our hometown in Little Rock, but to do that and at Vino's, which was the first club that ever paid us money to play a show before, was awesome. And then Denton last night was so much fun. Yeah, the crowd is just awesome, always. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know that you guys also, before you split up, you had your summer tour in 1999. Mm-hmm. And now that you guys are back on tour with new material, how does it feel to perform this, your new music as opposed to your own?
My take on it would be that this is the first time we're actually playing the songs the way we've intended to play them. Back when we were in '99, when we went on that one tour, it felt like every single time we played, the songs were slightly different and a little bit we couldn't remember what was coming next. And I think we're a lot more confident in what we're doing.
That's awesome.
We really like playing the new stuff. Just because it was really hard for us to get together and play music without imagining what we would sound like writing new stuff now, and so it's been fun being able to mix that into the set list. So.
Yeah, it's been really great too, because I feel like the reception to the new material has been really strong, which is not always the case, with a kind of a reunion thing. But the kids seem to be responding to the new music, and they sing along just as much as they do to the old songs. So it's a blast, yeah.
So going from teens from a high school band, I know that you guys already had some kind of exposure, especially since you blew up in recent times. Did you find it difficult to adjust to playing shows after all this time? Just kind of having already a platform as opposed to the traditional way that bands kind of grow, where it's a gradual success, but then you guys were kind of just placed into the limelight. If that makes sense.
Very accurate. The body slammed into the limelight may be better. Back when the first time around, we played shows to 20, 30 people. Yeah. We played in people's basements, in garages, and in city parks. So now being able to play really cool places like this, and Rubber Gloves in Denton, we played a bunch of cool places in April and last October, and having like a huge crowd has been really very different, and also super fun. And hi, and yeah, it's just been it's the first time we've played shows where everybody knew the lyrics. Everybody sings along and they're dancing and they're enjoying it. I mean, they enjoyed it back in the day as well, but it's more fun now. I used to get really nervous back in the day, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, and I've been in bands off and on, the whole time, and none to any degree of success other than this one, and like it's actually easier to play for like a crowd of people that are actually there to see you play, as opposed to trying to win them over, And so I feel like my nerves are a lot more chill now than they were back in the day. I feel like people are already here to see us, and like Chris said, they know the words, they're happy to be here. So like that to me makes it almost easy. Yeah.
And I know it sounds cheesy, but a word I think about a lot is like gratitude. Like it's just, we're really grateful that everyone's as enthusiastic as they are about what we're doing. So, and we wouldn't be doing it without you all. So.
And since you guys already did have a fan base before you went back into your reunion, did you feel any pressure making your newest EP to kind of just like make something that you knew the fans would like, or did you just already know that you wanted to stick with your original sound?
I have my answer. Do you have an answer?
I mean, you're the songwriter.
My answer is that nothing about what we've done since we've been back has felt like pressure. Everything that we get to do right now is like a choice because we think it's really fun to be able to hang out with our friends, and so we wrote a batch of songs that were fun for us to play, and we toyed around with 3 or 4 other songs and arrangements during that writing process, and we picked the 4 that would both fit on a 7-inch and that we thought sounded good together, and so we did that because we enjoyed the process and thought it was fun, and we have always operated, at least I've always operated from the perspective of it'd be cool if people like what we do, but it doesn't matter if they do, and we're just lucky enough that people do like it. So
Yeah, and I think like when we decided to do this, when Numero first offered us, an opportunity to play, and we decided that we would actually do it, I think we established really early on that we're like, it has to be fun. Like we need to handle this in a way that it stays fun for us. And the minute it stops being fun, then we're probably in the wrong game at that point. And we've been really fortunate. But it's kind of, that's our mantra, right? Or at least it is definitely for me. It's like the minute it starts to feel like it's not fun, I'm like, okay, we need to recalibrate and get this back on that track. Where it's just like, we're here to have a good time. We're just blessed to be in this situation, so we should be enjoying it.
Yeah, of course. So, speaking of like the whole songwriting process, do you have a favorite part of just the album making process in general?
of the album making process,
Or just making music in general?
I mean, I feel like in each kind of like section of the songwriting and music making process, there's like a moment that happens, like whether it's in like trying to compose a new song or arrange a new song where the song clicks, or in the recording process where you're trying to dial it in, like what we think it should sound like, and then it clicks, or when we're on stage and we've envisioned the way a song will sound live, and then we hit it right and it just lands live. Like those are kind of my favorite moments, where it just kind of feels like you transcend out of it's so cheesy, but it feels like you just kind of transcend out of that moment and just get to like really enjoy the like universe, right?
So I know for your newest EP, you went into more like heavier topics such as cancer, anxiety, injustice against LGBTQ folks. Were there any themes that you want to explore further in new music, if you are working on any?
I mean, So I think one of the subjects that was hit on the new EP and something that I keep returning to is a few of us have lost parents, right? And so we're losing it was largely about me losing my mom 13 years ago, and it's something that I'm still kind of processing. And and I keep coming back to that with my lyric writing. But it's for me, I think I don't have anything that I'm like trying to make sure that we touch on. It's more just kind of what sparks feeling and inspiration or creativity in the moment. I do a lot of my lyric writing while I'm walking my dogs, and so walking through the woods and like whatever kind of comes to me. And a lot of times it's like 1,000 themes kind of tied into one, and then I look back at our old music and I'm like, oh, I thought this was the theme 25 years ago, but now I look back and see my like lived life, and I'm like, oh, there was like a whole other piece that I was singing that Hannah and I are singing about that I didn't realize we were singing about in the moment, or that I was writing about in the moment. But looking back on it now, it's like very obvious. Yes, that those were the themes and subjects that we were. So it's kind of, who knows what the songs we just wrote will actually be about 10 years from now.
Can you give an example actually of like a different, I guess, interpretation? How you like when you first made the song, and then versus how you see it now, how the meaning has changed to you?
Well, I mean, I would say all of our LP, Let's Be Enemies, I think all of that was written from a perspective, at least I thought in the moment, or like at the beginning stages of writing that record, I thought in the moment was about like losing a long distance love. Like the song Taxi is about me leaving boarding school and leaving my high school girlfriend and coming back to Arkansas. And that whole story is a very complex story that I'm not going to go too deeply into, but looking back on it now, I see so much more deeply the second half of writing that record for me was me realizing that I was gay. And looking back on it now, I see so much of the stuff that was written before I started to go through that process with myself, and how that was actually, that was me processing what I was experiencing to get to a point where I could recognize that within myself, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a time capsule.
Yes, exactly. Very much so.
That's amazing.
It's why I think I can really emote on stage, because it like throws me right back into that kind of really beautiful but tumultuous time.
Oh, yeah. But do you find that touring back then and touring now, or just being a band back then and being now, is like two completely different experiences?
I mean, in some ways it's very different, right? Because again, we're touring with some degree of success in a way that was really not the case back then. But I think that one of the things that I think we all learned, not just from that band, but just being a part of that community in the 90s, is you just work with what you've got. You may have a shitty guitar, you may have a shitty amp, you may have a shitty van, there may not be anybody at the show, but you're doing it because you love it, and you take that drive and that motivation internally and from your community, and that you love hanging out with your friends and you love playing this music. And so it's not about like, oh, did we get a great mix, or did we use the best mics or stuff, which now we have the privilege of being able to have like a really killer, opportunity and a sound person who travels with us and all this kind of stuff. But like we could play these songs in a garage, and I think that would be something that I think has carried forward through everything in my life, coming from that community and growing up in that world and doing this under those conditions.
Yeah, I don't know if the difference between touring then we did, it's very similar and very different in many of the ways that Matt just described, but I think we're also very different people now than we were at that time. So I don't know if the differences are because we're different people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm old. I have a bad back. I need to get a proper night's sleep. Whereas when we were younger, we would just go and go and go and go, and it was perfectly fine, and there wasn't an issue. But I think back then we had a kind of baseline standard of what we needed to do to be able to be willing to go out on tour. And at that point it was, do we have enough seats in a car, and do we have a place to play a show? Then we'll go do it. And now we're the same thing. We have a baseline kind of, what do we need? We need a way to get a proper night's sleep. We need to make sure we're eating food. We need to make sure that we have time and space to our own selves, so that we don't let our anxieties spin up and lash out at other people. So it's like the same, but our what we've recognized and learned that we need for ourselves has changed. So I think that's probably the difference. But to Matt's point, when we played in Little Rock, my immediate thought was, why aren't we playing down at the riverfront at the park for free like we used to?
Yeah.
Why are we playing at this club? And we could just play these songs in a garage or in somebody's living room, but I don't wish that on anyone's living room.
Yeah. So speaking of playing at like smaller venues, would you be? I know that you guys played at Numero 22 and Numero 20, as well as Best Friends Forever. Would you guys be interested in, I guess, moving on to just like more big festivals or bigger shows, or do you like the more intimate feeling of small venues?
I mean, I would love to play cool festivals. You know, I mean, it's just a fun opportunity. So I think, you know, personally, I'd be up for anything. But I mean, I don't have any desire to play like arenas or anything.
Yeah.
You know, that's just never been something that seemed very interesting to me. And you know, God willing, it doesn't happen. But like, yeah. So you know, the smaller shows are great, and the intimacy of those shows are really important. But you know, if we get to play Riot Fest or Lollapalooza or something, I'm sure we'd say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think our band policy is that, like, any one of us can say that's not going to work for us. So you know, so we say yes or no to an opportunity, and I think that there's it depends on what people are approaching us, or what kind of situation it is. You know, for me personally, I think having like our fans in front of us is what makes us more confident to do a better job playing shows. You know, we want to keep our tickets as affordable as possible, but still allow us to afford to be able to do this show, because we know that most of our fans are underage or are young or college students, and so there's not a lot of free cash floating around to come see a show. And going to a big festival where, you know, there's no we wouldn't necessarily be the big draw. Winning people over, I think Matt already touched on this. Winning people over is not. It's stressful. That's the word I wanted to. Trying to win people over is stressful, and when we play to like these guys over here, or you know, the people, like the fans that we played to last night, that's fun.
Yeah.
And our number one rule is, like, we want this to be fun.
So for tonight's show, are there any songs that you guys are looking forward to playing the most, or just a favorite song that you guys like playing?
Do you have a favorite song you like to play?
I love playing I Will Wait, and yeah, and I really love Sometimes. I love playing Sometimes, and part of that is just because the crowd response to that is always really strong, and so it's a lot of fun. And I love playing Vigil. I think that's a really beautiful moment.
I think my two favorite songs to play are Paper Airplanes, Paper Hearts, and Handsome Beautiful, which happen to just kind of be like sister songs with the lyrics and song names and whatnot. They're just really fun to play, and the crowd really enjoys it, and the band seems to have a lot of fun when we do it. Sometimes it's always really fun. A Vigil is always really special, but it's like it's special. I'm glad that we recorded it, and I'm glad that the band wants it to regularly be in the set. So I will wait till the hardest song for me to play. So
I'd like to see him sweat.
it's like our second song we ever wrote, and I'm like, how did I do this when I was 17 years old? It's like, maybe it's just because I'm old and my muscles don't move as fast anymore.
Well, I'm excited to see you guys play tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you for letting me interview you guys today.